Hello and welcome to the Road to 200 kg Deadlift episode number 18, and in fact the finale of this series. In the previous episode we were doing testing my openers, we were doing singles, doubles and triples, really prepping me in preparation for a mock powerlifting competition me and my coach are doing on a Sunday. So here we are, the deadlifts are here, let's see how it goes. So to open up, in the last episode we were doing our opener 175. Because of how I warmed up, I just went on this session, I went 8 reps at 60, 5 reps at 100, 3 reps at 140, and then the opener's basically like a warm-up, so we just increased by 30 kilos, so 170. Moved absolutely fine, perfect form, very happy with how it moved. Again, this is probably a weight that is the warm-up till what we get into later, so I was happy with 170 kilos as the weight, moved good as well. Now getting into the second lift now, which is 190 kilos, so there's a 20 kilo increase. I did say that no doubt the second lift will probably be between 185 to 190 kilos. This one is 190 kilos. This is in fact a PB lift. I haven't lifted this heavy before. The previous was 182.5, and we're going to see how it goes now. It moved good, moved well, happy with how it moved. Was probably a RPE 8.5 if we were talking that scale as well. I thought it moved very well. There was no breakdown in form, which was excellent. The heaviest I've lifted so far as well, so I was very happy with how it went again. And it just really shows how really nailing down the form is so important to these lifts. Because a few episodes ago I was struggling quite a few, about 4 or 5 episodes ago, where I had my hips too low, where it was always my lower back taking over. I could feel it on my lower back a lot more. But like in these lift 170 kilos and 190 kilos, these heavy singles, it's not just all in my legs and my lower back. It is both of them moving at once. It isn't just lower back taking over like so often with deadlifting that happens. Like a minor adjustment to form makes everything feel perfect. So every time after I deadlift, I don't feel any pain in my lower back. I feel like that's took over for the whole lift. There's an even distribution between my legs, hamstrings, glutes and my lower back. Obviously lower back's still involved. Now here we go, the big lift, 200 kilo lift is what we came for, and boy we came for it and we fucking done it. Very happy with how this went again. Honestly, if it was to go back in time or say what my RP, what my max is, I reckon it's more than 200. I reckon probably 205. Yeah, I reckon I could lift 205. Seeing how well that moved as well for 200 kilos, it moved pretty well. For the heaviest lift I've done, it moved really good. Looking back, watching it, great, it moved great. I'm like so happy with it. Watching it back now with you guys as well. But during that lift as well, I always knew I was going to lift to 200 kilos. In the back of my mind, I always knew that I would lift it, absolutely no doubt. Going into it, I was like, failure is not an option. I did forget, like, I'd done this on the day as well. I kind of forget what weight's on the bar, so it doesn't really phase me. So when I was going up to lift 200 kilos, the only thing I was going through my mind, it's like a mindset thing, is this is like, I'm going to lift this no matter what, it's getting lifted. I never went into it thinking 200 is heavy. Like a few days ago, the only time where so-called negative thoughts came into my head, I was like, oh, 200, that's quite heavy. But all going into this into this day, I was going to lift 200 kilos by the end, and you just knew I was going to do it. So happy again with how it all went as well. When I was lifting it, it did feel grindy, it did look grindy. Of course, it was a bit of a slower lift. Of course it's going to be, it's the heaviest I've lifted. But the great thing about it, there was no like lockout difficulty. The only thing which was a bit of a minor thing was that I extended quite a lot of hips. That's just at the end of the lift to lock out. I wasn't sure if I was at lockout, so it's kind of like a safety thing. I don't know. I got it regardless. If it was in competition, it would count obviously, but very, very happy with how this went. We'll go back to the start of this series where my PB was 150. It is now 200 kilos. That's an increase of 50 kilos. We went from 3.25 plates to 4.5 plates in 4 months. Yeah, 4 months of just hard work. I put on 50 kilos on my deadlift, and it's my favorite lift now as well, just because I'm probably the best at that lift. And just sorting out my form, where setting your hips higher, some people set them lower, mine are just high just because of what I'm given as a body, what God has given me as a body, and my leverages just works out better for my hips to be higher. May look a bit weird and funny on the eye, but that's how I get the most power on my lifts. And it's funny just looking back now, previous clips from when I first started this program, we did a lot of rep work of 101 kilos. We're now like lifting double that weight basically. It's just great to see the progress made as well. I'm so happy with how this series has went, how much progress. I have to thank my coach as well. You know, I'll leave a link to his Instagram in the description below if any of you want to get in contact with him for strength work. I mean, the results speak for itself. Managed to put 50 kilos on my deadlift before working with him. I was lifting 150. Now it's 200 kilos. But it goes to show what hard work, constantly turning up, really shows as well. Because all this is achieved by hard work, you know, really dedicating yourself as well. Obviously, looking back on the pauses, I remember the first session we done this, where it's only 95 kilos, and I was like, oh, this is hard. And then what? 4 months later, we're doing pause deadlifts at 70 kilos more. Yes, once with 6 reps, one with 1 rep. But again, getting used to these variations like pause deadlifts as well. I think they had a tremendous carryover to my conventional deadlift. And for the time being, I will not be doing pause. So I don't know where I'm going to go next to my lifting objectives. I haven't really thought about it. Obviously, got 200 kilos on the deadlift. I think what's probably next for the deadlift, I haven't really thought about it too much, like I've just said. It's probably go for 220 kilos, and obviously to enter powerlifting as well. We've done a mock competition. I think it's only right that I really test myself in a meet or a proper competition, see what I'm like. So I don't know, that's all for the next year. It's whether we decide what weight class to go on and build towards that. But I do want to get 220 kilo deadlift. That's the only number that's popped into my head. I know it's only 20 kilos and but it's like 5 plates. But thanks for watching this episode. Thanks for watching this series. If you want to catch any of the episodes, the link will be in the description below to a full playlist. And again, I'm very happy with how much progress has been made in the 3 to 4 months. Like I said, I've learned a lot as well. And yeah, I will catch you on the next video or next series, whatever that will be, where I'll be lifting towards a certain number I have in mind. So thanks for watching. Catch you next time.